The Great One pays tribute to Scott Hall, and we'll get into more of the wrestling world mourning the passing of Razor Ramon, a.k.a. Scott Hall, today with wrestling media legend Bill Apter joining us as well. We'll have some special memories with him on today's Sportskeeda Wrestling top story of the day. The Hardys, what is their future? Is there a big match they're teasing? And we're going to see them in action tonight on tonight's AEW Dynamite. Plus, we have news about celebrities at WrestleMania. Damian Priest chiming in here with Logan Paul and Johnny Knoxville joining the fold this year. He's been a part of a celebrity angle at WrestleMania. We'll get into all of it and so much more. Don't go anywhere. Share that link or you stink. It's Sportskeeda. Sportskeeda.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
I'm a professional. Sportskeeda Wrestling top story of the day. Jeremy here, Jose here. More importantly, hey yo, Bill Apter is with us. How you doing, Bill?
Right down that way.
Hey yo.
Hey yo,
indeed.
Hey yo, indeed. Bill, obviously this is the story of the week. The sad, unfortunate passing of Scott Hall under some very tragic circumstances here. I know you had a very close relationship with many different luminaries in wrestling, and you had a very good friendship with Scott Hall as well.
Yeah, I did. Scott was, by the way, welcome everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to be here. And I love being on this show. And it's a horrible top story, unfortunately, that the wrestling world has lost one of its iconic stars. And a lot of us have lost a close friend. As I mentioned on a video that I did about Scott, a loving tribute to him, is that he was a character both in the ring and out of the ring. He achieved his biggest fame, as you know, as Razor Ramon, but he was just a great person to be around. You never knew. He threatened to kill me times, and I knew he was only joking. One time he sent a photo. One of our editors from Pro Wrestling Illustrated went to a convention, and he came back with a picture autographed from Scott Hall. If you don't put me in that rag of yours, I'm going to kill you. Your friend, Razor Ramon, Chico. Yeah, so stuff like that. He was just an incredible, but just, he was one of these guys a lot of people thought would be dead years ago because of his addiction problems, and he beat all that out, and it's unfortunate that after the hip surgery, he had the 3 heart attacks that led to his demise. But he was the best bad guy, because he loved to call himself that I had ever seen. And from now on, for the next few weeks, I've got one of these in my mouth all the time.
There you go. Obviously, you have a great video up here. People can check it out, your website, billapter.com, and you work at sportskeeda.com as well.
Yes.
Love to share this moment with everyone. Could you maybe set this moment up here for us as we go?
Yeah, this is at Bud Carson's Pro Wrestling World, and I asked him if I could interview him, and he says, "How much money you got in your pocket?" I said, "I don't know." He put his hand in my pocket, pulled out a $20 bill, and said, "Okay, now we're good to go." And he kept it. He kept it.
He kept it. Of course,
check this out. Let's check out a few seconds of this. As I mentioned, it's on billapter.com, and my words are on sportskeeda.com, doing a part 1 tribute to him I did on Monday night, and I'll have another section of that part 2 Thursday or Friday night. So, hey, yo.
After reporting here for OneWrestling.com over, and you've always wanted to do that, haven't you? He loves getting me with a comb. Now, who do I look like now? Curly?
No, do the Nutty Professor.
Oh, actually, I need glasses. Who's got the glasses?
No.
Actually, see, the Nutty Professor actually would be like this. Scott Hall, welcome to the Apter Chat, my friend. So you have so much. You talk to me every time we talk to each other. You always say that, and it's not just me. It was a whole team of people that we buried you in the magazines. So talk about it.
No. What I want to say and get this clear is they would put my pretty movie star face on the cover to sell the magazines. Then on the inside, they go, well, he's just not quite living up to his potential. So to all those people, I want to say, when I leave here, it's going to be a big gathering of fans down there. Oh, down where, you ask? Down here.
All right, that's
Easy interview.
that's a
Everybody,
representation.
by the way, you
of
look
my,
great.
All
You
right.
look great, and you still.
with him. But there's about 4 or 5 more minutes of this video that if people go to One Wrestling Video or BillApter.com. You can see the whole thing. Over 10,000 people have visited since I posted it last night. But yeah, I'm going to miss the bad guy. I did send the video to Kevin Nash, who was extremely broken up over this, as you know, and he said it made him smile because that showed what Scott was like.
It's certainly a lot of personality and effortlessly cool guy. I think there's never been a billing of oozing machismo. You know, there's this guy's the phenom, or this guy's that, or this guy, you know, that subtitle that gets given to someone. There's never been someone who fits that better. You know, he was just effortlessly cool. He was gracefully cool. He doesn't just put on cool or says he's cool. He was that. You bought it. It didn't feel like a gimmick. You know, even though this is a guy who had a character created for me to step right into it. So, Jeremy, we have more news here about the wrestling world continuing to pay tribute to Scott Hall. One of the biggest stars to ever transcend the business in the world of Hollywood. Rock is now joining the conversation.
Wait, well, what's his name?
The Rock?
It doesn't matter what his damn name is.
It doesn't matter what his name is.
The Rock posting on Instagram here recently, mentioning the pro wrestling just lost a legend in Scott Hall. Scott came from an era of pro wrestling where wrestlers were the biggest and toughest men on the planet. Scott was a big man who was athletically gifted, tough as hell, and inside the ring, he was an extraordinary, talented, and intense athlete. Before my match here with Scott, I made sure to tell him how much his in-ring work influenced me. When I was a rookie in wrestling, I would study Scott's matches, his style, intensity, crispness, and his excellent in-ring IQ and psychology. I studied his matches frame by frame. He was shocked to hear this from me. We came up in different eras. He knew I was a student of the game, but had no idea he was one of the ones I studied. He thought that was so cool, and we went out there that night and lit the F up inside the ring. It's my honor, brother, and thank you for the house. Go rest high. And also on Rock's Instagram, he posted a video clip of his match with Scott Hall.
Very fitting tribute, you know, and obviously there's a lot of people that are going to see that with The Rock that may not even know, you know, about Scott Hall passing. And so giving light to someone in that way is very, very special here. Yeah. Very, very special indeed.
And again, it goes back to the influence that Scott Hall had, not only on a lot of generation that we see now, but even back then, 20 years ago with The Rock. It's very evident when you see The Rock is his in-ring style. It's very similar to Razor Ramon's, and you see a lot of that in today's guys. So he was a major influence, not only on the veterans like The Rock, but you know, the guys today. So this guy, Scott Hall, had a huge impact in the world, didn't he, Bill?
It's you know, saying a huge impact doesn't even break the surface with him, because when you talk to people about pro wrestling in the heyday of when everybody seemed to be a wrestling fan and everybody watched it, he was one of the key characters that came along that everybody hated but loved at the same time. They loved to hate him. He was so super cool. And of course, he made history with Shawn Michaels in the very first ladder match as well, which was one of the best matches I've ever seen. I mean, it spurned so many imitations of indie federations and other companies doing ladder matches, but it all started there.
Yeah, and you see, like, especially just recently when Sammy Guevara won that ladder match, and he basically did the same pose that Razor Ramon did on top of the ladder with 2 belts. You know, and that you can see that influence goes all the way down to a young guy like Sammy Guevara.
Yeah. Again, he was one of a kind. There'll never be another one. Somewhere down the road, I have a interview I did in 2017 that's on YouTube with his son Cody, and I'll put that out there somewhere in the next few days too. The one thing Scott Hall said in the interview, though, that one where you played the teaser, is that would he rather be the greatest wrestler in the world or a great dad? And he said, Dad. You'll see it on the interview.
A fitting word here. Fitting word here from a guy who's just definitely showing his impact in the business. And sometimes you don't know what you are to people, until they don't have you. You know, and you kind of see that here.
And when he and Kevin Nash, of course, went to WCW as NWO, look how those two, and Eric Bischoff, of course, brought that whole thing in. But look how Scott Hall and Kevin Nash at that beginning changed the wrestling world and the whole attitude forever.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's one of the most seismic moves in the history of the wrestling business, and he's a critical part of it. It doesn't happen without him. You know, that needle doesn't change, that the whole thing that WCW and NWO would do that didn't happen. If that doesn't happen, does the Attitude Era happen?
It doesn't happen without him.
Yeah, and so, I mean, he's such a specific part of that, too. And so special to see people rally around him and his impact as a performer and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great comments here. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. There will never be another Razor Ramon. Shout out to Bill Apter, great historian for the business. So people enjoy your contributions here. It is odd to make the transitions here, but we do have some big wrestling stories to cover. We did flip the script here a little bit. The Hardy Boys are back together. This was the positive news story from the past week. Jeff Hardy running to make the save for his brother Matt, who's being attacked by his former faction that turned on him on last week's Dynamite. We're getting a big teaser here tonight of a major match announcement. Yeah. Some big things happening here with the Hardy Boys. We've gotten some teasers online, but nothing overt. Is it going to be this big match with the Young Bucks right away? Are they going to hold off on this, Jeremy? What do we know here?
Well, what we do know is the Hardy Boys will be reuniting in AEW for the first time tonight as they take on Private Party on St. Patrick's Day Slam, a part of a big card tonight. Of course, your main event is going to be the steel cage match between Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And that's not the only title. You got Scorpio Sky and Wardlow for the TNT Championship. You got John Moxley and Bryan Danielson taking on Chuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta. We also got a big six-man with Hangman Page, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus taking on Adam Cole and Red Dragon, and the Jericho Appreciation Society commencement. So a lot of stuff going on in St. Patrick's Day Slam, but of course the eyes are going to be on that reuniting of Matt and Jeff, and it's going to be a tremendous moment to see them together in AEW tonight.
I think they're going to draw huge ratings with the reuniting of Matt and Jeff tonight, and I'm glad to see Matt kind of out of that managerial advisor type of role and back in the ring again.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when the fans, the real hardcore fans, they're big Hardy fans, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that the angle that Matt Hardy was doing with the family business and the home office and all that stuff wasn't really resonated. And I think that the fans really wanted to see his brother and them together to have that last run. If they can get that last run and get those AEW tag team titles, they'll be the only tag team to have gotten every single major tag team championship in the entire world, for the except of Japan. I don't think they've gotten the Japan ones.
No, I don't think they have. But I mean, it's still you're talking about one of the biggest drawing tag team acts in the history of wrestling, you know, and they're going to be a draw. They're going to be a draw for AEW as a combination that's very, very special. And then you get to do this in your 40s, and you get to do this in a new way, and you get to do this away from WWE in a completely different way. So all of it's pretty positive. I mean, hard to mess this up. It's hard to get this wrong unless you start, doing the wrong creative. But I don't see like they're going in that direction so far.
I don't either. Don't delete.
Do not delete.
Right.
Do not delete. So you're saying play the hits here. You're saying go back to the old school Extreme Team Hardys here. Don't go down the out there jumping through portals, Matt Hardy and supernatural stuff. Is that what you're saying, Bill?
Well, they might. You never know. I mean, these two guys have done things so out of the box during their whole career. I don't think either one of them thinks that they still can't do what they did 20 years ago.
Exactly. And people with a lot of different ideas here and takes. Brendan asking, do you think Jeff Hardy will bring out the Willow character again? No, I don't think not right now. I mean, if you see it, you're not going to see it anytime soon. And other people with different takes here. The Hardy home office or whatever was trying to keep this thing on TV for a while he was injured. Yeah, Eric Cavalera bringing it up. Shout out to Eric Calavera, who did some fan art for us. It's up on our Twitter. I just retweeted it out of drawing a very buzzkill-driven Jeremy Bennett there. So you can See that over my Twitter.
I gotta see
I
that.
wanna see that.
I haven't seen Buzzkill Bennett yet.
Yeah. That was something we came up yesterday, and fans are drawing it today. So thank you very much, Eric.
Are we gonna get Buzzkill Bennett today, Jeremy?
We'll see.
That's a real buzzkill thing to say.
Maybe he'll sound off on our next segment here, talking about NXT. The
I
viewership
didn't watch it last night yet, so I was gone last night, so I haven't got a chance to watch it.
That's all right. We'll get into it. Numbers are up for NXT a little bit, not a major increase here. Are they getting the Dolph Ziggler effect? Are they finally getting the rub from the cross promotion with Monday Night Raw? This is WWE's third brand. Definitely clearly more of a developmental brand since the reboot and the refresh of it here. And you have now more of these crossovers with Raw names. Miz was on the show, setting up some things here with LA Knight and Dolph Ziggler, and more shenanigans and angles in the main event with him as well. What do you think here, Bill? Bringing names over from Monday Night Raw to NXT, is it a benefit to the brand?
I watched NXT last night, and I loved seeing the Mysterios come back in. I felt
that was a surprise. That was a nice surprise.
I felt a whole different, brand new type of, like they were brand new in another territory back in the territory days of Ray and Dominic in NXT. It's like, this is great. They're bringing in these two guys, and they were both, even though we see them every week on Raw, it was still like these guys are brand new to NXT.
Mm.
Yeah,
it also had a different feel
it was
to it
new.
too.
I enjoyed it.
It also, they had a different dynamic in it with the NXT crowd. I feel when we saw, and it was a nice surprise because they weren't announced for the show, and they just showed up, and I thought that was a really nice surprise for the crowd being there. But again, it felt different from seeing them on Monday Night Raw than on NXT.
It was almost like the old. I'm going to equate this with the old Georgia Championship Wrestling shows, where it was in that smaller type of arena, even though the Georgia Championship Wrestling was in a small studio, but it was in a smaller arena, and you could actually see and hear the fans' reaction, and everybody was so excited. It just seemed like a whole new ball game to me.
It is exciting. I mean, I'm not saying I'm overwhelmed about what the new NXT is. Here I'm as jacked about it as I was in the past, but I got to say that they've put some things together here for Stand and Deliver that are still not clear, but the momentum overall in the show is interesting. I'm not saying it's the best it's ever been, but they're starting to turn a corner here. Some of these new names are working. Some of the new names are not. Mm-hmm. They got some people that fans are talking about on the internet. They have some new names that are interesting to some people. Yes. I mean, I know some people have been down on Tony D'Angelo, but the guy gets reaction. People care about him.
He sure did last night, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have these combinations now of established names like a Rey Mysterio, Miz, a Dolph Ziggler, with these other names that you've known about but need that level up here, for lack of a better phrase. You know, they need the level up.
It's like years ago when you had stars, but even at Madison Square Garden, they would have the champion, like let's say a Bob Backlund, but they loaded the card up with other bigger stars that the fans knew and appreciated. So this is, who's going to be NXT, who's going to be next to come out of Raw or SmackDown and help bring the ratings up and draw some more excitement to NXT. Maybe this is one of the things that Vince McMahon and company are looking to change from the Triple H days, is to bring in more talent from the two major brands to help get this more recognized.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, Bill, because I actually wanted to ask you about this. It seems now that 6 months in, that NXT 2.0, with this new revamp that we have, the bright and colorful version of NXT 2.0, it seems like in the first maybe month and a half, 2 months, it seems like they were just throwing absolutely everything they had at the wall just to see what stuck, right? Yeah. And it didn't take until maybe January, maybe New Year's Eve, right around that timeline, where they started getting into the groove on who their top guys are now with this new role. Did you see that too?
I did. So I think somebody, might have been Vince McMahon, is saying, let's bring some of the stars onto that show, perk it up.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah. It made a lot of good sense. They had a good rating last night, and I was surprised to see that too. I didn't channel turn for the first time in a while. Once I thought, what are they doing here?
It's worth saying this isn't a massive increase, but it's the fact that the numbers have trended in a solid direction for a significant period of time for the show. It isn't the crown jewel of WWE television, but it's earning money. It's probably a show that's probably making money because you're not spending the same type of production costs on it. You keep it in one place. You don't have to fly that crew out anywhere. You keep that production crew in one building. You keep all those producers in one building. Some of them may even live there. So you don't have to spend all that travel money. You have a show that you're getting X, Y, and Z. You're only spending half of X to do it. So I think that's worth noting here. When a lot of people come down on NXT, I was like, what do you get? What are you putting into it? What are you getting paid for it? It may be a show that's you're probably earning quite a bit with it, even though it's just a developmental show and it's still on cable television.
Yeah, but another thing is that I don't know if any of you agree with this, but Dominic Mysterio looked right in NXT. He's losing
do you think
a
he
lot
looks out of
on
place?
Raw.
Do you think he
looks like Raw might not be the best fit?
He looks like he belongs in NXT 2.0.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
Yeah, and it's such a young brand, and everything about it is like the idea of it's the whole perception of it is different. I will say that with NXT, it's always the perception. It doesn't feel. I don't want to say it feels less than, it just feels different, and in a way where I think they can benefit from simply not having to be in arenas in front of casual fans. No, we're going to be in front of Smart Mark fans that want to see the up and coming stars here. A lot to say here. Fans chiming in here. I got to say, The Miz and Ziggler and LA Knight all together in the ring last night was pretty amazing. Best segment of the week. Really like that one.
Yeah, it was pretty hot.
Mm-hmm. Definitely moving along here. Want to know your take about the celebrities. This is something you're uniquely aware of, Bill Apter. Damian Priest speaks on celebrities at WrestleMania. This year's WrestleMania, a stupendous two-night affair in Dallas, in Arlington, Texas, is going to feature heavy celebrity roles involved. Specifically, Logan Paul there will be tag teaming with The Miz against the Mysterios. And Johnny Knoxville of the one of the biggest movies of the past 6 months, Jackass Forever, he will be taking on Sami Zayn.
I think you need to find a picture of Kevin Von Erich and put it up to
Kevin Von Erich with the claw hand, right? We gotta get the Von Erichs there involved.
Yeah. Well, celebrities have always been from the beginning a large part of WrestleMania, and some people love it, some people hate it. I think the Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn angle has gotten hotter than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But throughout WrestleMania history, from Cyndi Lauper to Mr. T, and they've always had celebrity involvement in some form at most WrestleManias. It draws the casual fan. It will draw the Logan Paul fans to, what is he doing? I got to watch that. Yeah. So it increases their numbers.
Bill, as you were at ringside for all those different things that changed the business, the rock and wrestling era is so driven by celebrities in the 80s. The national expansion of WWE, WWF as a brand was tied to celebrities kind of endorsing it and saying, this is cool. It's not just the carnival, county fair type thing. It's so much more than that. Is this another example of that in the modern age? Is this WWE trying to go to those younger teenage viewers who maybe just consume digital content and say, hey, if you love Logan Paul, well, we got him on WWE.
Oh, yeah.
What is the play here?
It makes perfect sense for them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also
brings in the casual fan.
Absolutely, but WWE has a pattern of always being on the forefront when it comes to being ahead of the curve on technology and pop culture. WrestleMania 1 was a big deal because that was the first time, when you, like you mentioned, Kevin, where rock and roll, MTV, that whole pop culture scene mixed with wrestling. And he's done that year after year after year, with performances, with, different artists. We've had Pitbull and Flo Rida, perform at WrestleMania, and we've seen artists and other celebrities be involved. And this is just part of that WrestleMania dynamic where it's so big that it reaches across every single aisle of pop culture. So it's not exactly a big surprise. Exactly.
It's the Super Bowl. They always have a halftime show with celebrities there. So this is the Super Bowl of pro wrestling that way. There's celebrities, and it's fine. It doesn't hurt anything.
But, we have people that are against it. Fans like this texting in saying, hope Paul and Knox will get booed out of Dallas. Other fans complaining there's too many celebrities involved here. Other people putting Pat McAfee in that category. Is he technically that, since he's the play-by-play voice of SmackDown?
I was going to say that because I don't know if you remember, probably about 7 or 8 months ago, I went on Twitter and I said that Pat McAfee getting up on the table and screaming when Nakamura was coming out, and it really annoyed me. And he cursed me out on Twitter. And I didn't mean anything vicious or anything, but he cursed me out. He has become someone I actually like listening to and all this, but the way he is taking this this whole feud now, actually, it seems to be working. It really does.
He's such a natural at it, though, too. If you saw his work last year in NXT when he did the War Games match and he had that match with Adam Cole, he's just a natural at it. He's naturally gifted to be in this business.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and if you watched his
Vince McMahon, by the way.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's a great interview.
Absolutely,
you've been able to have conversations with Vince McMahon. Have you ever seen him have an interview that's that revealing or that candid?
No, he doesn't like to do those.
Yeah, so I mean, and this even in the interview, it didn't seem like he wanted to he was candid and he was forthright and he gave honest answers and illuminated into his perspective on how.
Well, that's because Pat McAfee has a very cool, cutting edge type of audience, and that's going to draw Vince to him rather than being on the Jimmy Kimmel show.
It felt like a Howard Stern interview where you're really. I mean, it's going to be fun and it's going to be fun. They're gonna get some jokes and laughs out of you and stuff like that. But they're absolutely going to go deep. Like they're not. This is going to be a light, 4-minute ha 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 the plug your thing like a late night TV show like a Jimmy Kimmel, which is no rip at those. Those are just fun things you go and do, right? This is completely different affair. And talking about that, this year's WrestleMania, you've seen the build to WrestleMania, and it hits. It hits at the right time. Before we wrap here, I want to get your take, Bill. Following the business so closely for so many decades, does this year's WrestleMania have that build that a great WrestleMania needs to have? Because you were there when it started at MSG, and you've seen it rise every year. It is the event that some people say this is what WWE's performance this year is tied to. Some people question a lot about this. Some people still complaining it shouldn't be 2 nights. All fans are going to complain. But is the ride going to pay off when we get to Dallas?
Yeah, I like the 2 nights because it's WrestleMania weekend now. It's not just one night of WrestleMania. I think that's a great feeling to have.
It's easier to digest.
There.
Much easier to digest. Much easier to take
So no, I'm excited about it. I can't compare it to every other WrestleMania because it's a different audience than it was 10 or 15 years ago. So for the audience that's currently watching it, it's a good. It's good.
And of course, a lot of people have this question here. We can get this one in. Can we ask you about Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes, one of the bigger wrestling stars of the year so far, defecting from All Elite Wrestling. And the expectation was that he would show up in WWE this past Monday in Jacksonville, AEW's headquarters, their hometown. He did not do that. And some people still expecting him to show up in WWE. When do you pull the trigger on him, Bill?
We don't know yet. See, I never break a story unless it has total credence to it, because nothing, as far as I know, is signed, sealed, and delivered yet. So until I see him in front of those WWE cameras, he's not there yet.
But what's your gut feeling, Bill? I mean, you've been around this business long a time when when a story has some heat behind it and there can be some truth behind it. Like, what's your overall feeling and speculation about it? Because it's fun to speculate, and I know you don't want to confirm, but what's your gut feeling telling you what we're going to see at WrestleMania?
He against Seth Rollins but I don't know how they're going to pull that trigger. I would have loved to have seen Seth Rollins start talking this past Monday night about Dusty Rhodes and saying, like Dusty was this and Dusty was that. He
just goes the Kevin Owens route. He's like, I'm going to start an angle. I'm going to get myself booked on the show. I'm going to go after Texas. I'm going to get Steve to come out of retirement and come after me. I'm going to talk crap about Dusty.
Something to do where he would put down the legacy of Dusty Rhodes.
Something.
In some form. And
some form
here comes the American Nightmare.
By
the way, before we wrap up, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. So I want to wish that great new champion, Rick O'Shea, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Bill, as an Irish person, I don't think he's Irish. I don't think he.
Isn't it Rick O'Shea?
He's black Irish, bro. He's black Irish. He's tan.
I thought his name was Rick O'Shea. Oh my God.
Oh no! Oh no!
There it goes, me boys. Happy St. Patty's Day to everyone. That
Happy
celebrates.
St. Patty's Day as well to everyone out there. Sláinte to all the friends in there. Sláinte to all the wrestling fans in Ireland who are putting us on the charts in the podcasting category.
Do you know I'm from Ireland?
Yeah, no
originally?
way.
Yes,
Yeah.
Coney Ireland in
Coney,
Brooklyn.
Coney Ireland. Give this one in the super chat in from Roland Curtis here. Always supportive of the brand. Thank you so much. Rest in peace to the bad guy. His "Hey Yo" was so over and received a pop reaction for over 20 years after the Razor Ramon character was written off. You know, you're absolutely right. He would come out, he would say nothing, and then 2 words pop. You know, like when you have that grace, it is a very, very special thing. Bill, if they want to follow you and continue to go to the wisdom and go underneath the wrestling tree that you have that is so bright and full of wondrous fruit of wisdom, where do they go?
Well, Sportskeeda, of course. Just go in your browser, put in Bill
Get that book.
Sportskeeda.
Get that book.
Thank you. Is wrestling fixed?
I didn't know it was broken.
I didn't know it was broken.
That's right. My book is still on sale. But you can follow me on Sportskeeda. Just go to your favorite browser and put in Bill Apter Sportskeeda profile, and all my stories will come up. You can follow me at Apter One Wrestling, and you'll be seeing a lot more of me on Sportskeeda in the very near future.
Jeremy Bennett, I know you've been enjoying.
I have to go. I have.
All right. Well, Bill, we don't want to hold you up.
No, thank you very much, and I love being on the show. And please let me come back.
We will absolutely have
Definitely.
you. Hopefully,
There's always
before
an
WrestleMania,
open
we can get you on again.
That sounds great.
Have a good night, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. Jeremy, I know we're busy talking to Bill here. You didn't have any buzz kills. You were so respectful of legendary Bill Apter. You didn't buzz kill him at all.
Maybe we'll fix that tomorrow.
You'll really charge up the gun. You're like, I'm gonna behave when Bill's here.
I'm gone
when Bill
Friday.
Apter's gone, I'm gonna get Kevin Jose good.
I'm gone Friday, so I gotta make up.
You gotta
for
get it
tomorrow.
in.
Oh, he's overcompensating tomorrow with the buzzkills.
Yeah.
Every story's been like, I'm afraid I got the buzzkill.
We will have more news tomorrow. We will be following this developing Joey Janela situation with him leaving AEW, which does not seem to be the most clean-cut exit of any wrestling. It seems like that's more of a thing here. We'll follow up more on that. Obviously, we'll have more results from AEW Dynamite tonight and see what the direction they're going here post-Revolution with the Hardys is, and so much more. If you are listening to this on the podcast side of things, thank you so much. Thousands of listeners, one of our biggest weeks ever on Spotify. We're so thankful. If you're doing that, if you're listening on the podcast side of things, we put up all of our top stories, all of our post shows of Vince Russo and Dutch Mantel. We're going to start dropping a couple more things on there too, that kind of out of rhythm of what's going on. So if you're just a podcast listener, please go give us a 5-star review. It really, really helps us out. We're working on getting sponsorships. We're not going to do those annoying sponsors that are like, there's like 4.5 minutes of ads at the beginning of something like that. No,
Manscaped.
Yeah.
Like the Chris Jericho ones that it takes up the first 15 minutes of the show.
I'm not going to say anything bad about the great people at Manscaped. They have wonderful products that I would enjoy talking about. See, there we go, boys. All right.
Yeah. He's asking for a deal, boys.
I want to sell some ball trimmers.
He
okay?
wants
I got to sell something that shaves your face right. I already messed up mine.
He wants some clean balls, people.
All right. Give me a promo code. I'll yell it. So all those different things here. Thank you guys so much. And remember, you can follow Jose at Jose_G_official on the TikTok, on the Instagram. We got those Mania Minutes coming out. We just dropped one on Twitter and Instagram.
We already
22,000.
Yes, our first one. It already has 22,000 views on Reels on Instagram. Check it out. There's going to be a whole series of them dropping between now and WrestleMania. We worked really hard on those. So,
Jeremy, when is your Buzzkill Bennett t-shirt coming out?
I don't know. I don't make the shirts.
Come on, you got fan art. That's not too bad, dude. You
I
got
know,
fan
that was
art
pretty
coming
good.
at you.
That was pretty good.
I want to see that fan art. Send it over to me.
I'll be on pay-per-view this Saturday for AAW Epic. That will be on Fight.tv, 7:30 Central. Go ahead and get that. All the info on that at aawpro.com. That's aawpro.com. And up on my Twitter as well, at Kev Kelm, Jose and I in Dallas for WrestleMania. Thank you guys so much. Signing off. Clean and easy. Breathe easy, folks. It's okay. Just do this one thing. What's that?
You got to enjoy wrestling and happy Stone Cold Day. What?
Oh, hell yeah.
What?
What?
One bear,
Two
What?
bears,
two
Oh.
bears,
3 bears.
shot tequila, scotch, whiskey,
We can keep doing this.
George Stern.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!